Shia LaBeouf, Lindsay Lohan, Orlando Brown. Obviously, Disney them done steal from the church, cause many of them Disney child actors are cursed. And the most recent addition to the list is Skai Jackson. I want to first bring up this clip.
Skai Jackson has reportedly been arrested for domestic violence. According to TMZ, the Disney Channel star was spotted arguing with her boyfriend, and cops were called after security allegedly saw Skai push her partner more than once. Deputies claim they reviewed surveillance footage, which showed Jackson pushing her boyfriend, leading to her arrest. The couple have reportedly denied anything got physical, claiming they're happily engaged and expecting a baby together.
But the more that we investigate this story, the more chicanery we see. And by chicanery, I mean misogyny. That's exactly what I want to talk about. Not surprised she's in jail for a 7-year-old. Desirability, double standards. You had a whole OnlyFans model kill a whole black man. And most importantly, a failure of fostering community. But I'm about to make some takes that might get you all mad at me, so please bear with me. I'm working through this in real time, all right? The way that we minimize masculine victims of domestic violence, especially how the man them do other man them that fall victim to domestic violence, is a byproduct of misogyny and sexism. The idea that a woman is not capable of brutalizing or doing harm to the man them because of patriarchy and the way that we position them and how puissant and mighty we are is exactly the problems. It's not a benefit. It actually, in many different cases, gets us killed. Put your pitchforks down. Let me explain myself. And we gotta start from the beginning. So wheel it back up.
It's a foreign man in a foreign land.
So if you don't know who Skai Jackson is, then that means that you probably haven't watched, what, Disney? Crystal, can you give us maybe a quick primer, starter pack on who Skai Jackson is?
Honestly, I feel like I need a starter pack on who Skai Jackson is, and that's no shade.
She was really big in saying Jessie. They actually used her character in Jessie to kind of begin to show some misogyny, which is exactly what we're going to get into, especially when it comes to this. Here's a clip from her and Jessie. And pay close attention to, of course, this part right here.
Two things I'm good at: eating cookies and kicking butt. And we're all out of cookies. Okay, all right.
So that's sweet, right? This is sweet. She is, I'd give contemporaries, if I had to compare folks like Raven Simone, or folks like Rudy Huxtable when she was young. What's her actual name?
Keisha Pulliam? Keisha Knight Pulliam?
You see, this is why. God damn it. You ain't even hesitate with that. Yeah, I would consider her to be their contemporary. She was a young black girl growing up in Hollywood, that type of scene in particular. And with that, it comes a lot of different quandaries. And we constantly see a lot of them in some sort of drama. I don't understand why. But that's exactly what I want to talk about. Not surprised she's in jail for a 7-year-old, right? As a 7-year-old, you're saying, yeah. What do you think about that, Crystal?
I think that caption isn't right, because what she's doing there is acting. Now I can see if you had an actual video of her being abusive or something, but I don't know why they use that caption with a clip where she's clearly a kid acting. So I agree. With the people that are why would they say not surprised she's in jail? Now, Skai, I think, am I stepping ahead?
No, go for it.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, you are. You are chopped ahead.
Skai Jackson has reportedly been arrested for domestic violence. According to TMZ, the Disney Channel star was spotted arguing with her boyfriend, and cops were called after security allegedly saw Skai push her partner more than once. Deputies claim they reviewed surveillance footage, which showed Jackson pushing her boyfriend, leading to her arrest. The couple have reportedly denied anything got physical, claiming they're happily engaged and expecting a baby together. Skai was later released, but the case will now be reviewed to determine if her charges are warranted.
Honestly, the biggest crime here is the fact that they use that stock footage. I mean, the stock music, the dramatic news tone. I'm just raw. what I want this to be a Trojan horse for is a discussion about the reality of man and mask domestic violence and like domestic violence against men, because it is something that happens. And I think that there's a lot of different ways this could be looked at, especially like given the fact that one of the big things that people brought up as it pertains to her is the fact that Skai Jackson and this guy are, let me just bring it up because
Skai Jackson got arrested at the Universal Walk.
Okay, I had to turn. I don't know why they put that. Listen, y'all got.
But yes, I am 100% against all forms of domestic violence. In fact, I mean, not to throw family under the bus because I got family watching right now, but I've seen women in my family beaten up on their partners, and I hate it. I hate it. And if she's pushing him in public, then this is probably happening behind closed doors. Absolutely. To a more extreme level. And that's something I've noticed too. I don't know if you've ever witnessed domestic violence in public, but I've always said, if you're comfortable enough doing or getting physical in public, you're probably doing way more in private. So I have absolutely no clue what's going on. As for the height difference, I can tell you, petite girls like them big. So somebody in the chat say he looked like Blake Griffin brother or something.
Hola, Mexico.
But like for real, like hearing man and seeing stuff like that, there's a couple of things that need to be like talked about. Like, so first off, we need to like talk about the way that it is easier for folks to see Black women as potential aggressors in situations where a white woman having done stuff like that or doing stuff like that in public would not be seen as an aggressor. In fact, they would be seen as someone that is still in need of help. I kid you not. I have been in Iowa seeing white gals beat up on, because unfortunately, like, I could throw all my niggas them under the bus, but you all fellas in Iowa, the Black dudes them in Iowa, you all know when you all get to these PWI schools, the first thing you all do is grab up the nearest white woman and cuff it up. Yeah, I'm going there, Crystal. I'm sorry, I'm going there. And they be doing that. And then sometimes when, you know, gal come back from Keokuk or Dubuque, Iowa, when they come back home after their dad been telling them, oh, why you with this? Why you being a coal burner? Why you being all of this and that? And then they come back to their Black man in university, and then they get in these public situations. Yeah, they begin to take on particular mannerisms that they think is appropriate in these situations. And when a white woman sometimes dates a Black man, she be feeling like she got to match a particular perceived ghetto-ness. And what they equate being ghetto is beating up on niggas. So I don't know if you've seen anything like that, but like I have seen dudes get their ass beat by white women, and then the police come to help the white woman. I talking all the time. Have you seen anything like that? I know you was in Houston like for the longest. I'm sorry, I'm doxing you.
Yeah. I have an example. I don't know if you know about the white young lady that stabbed up her boyfriend. She was an OnlyFans model.
Listen.
And apparently...
Listen, Crystal, like I swear, I had it on the tab. I had the tab. But yes, that's exactly what happened. You had an insert. Oh, there's no way that the stream is getting monetized. You had a whole OnlyFans model. I'm not going to cut you off. You had a whole OnlyFans model kill a whole Black man. And I did think that she went to jail. But this happens a lot more. Sorry, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
No, I agree. I don't think it's going to get demonetized because why would MSNBC use those images? Hey. But anyway.
But that's a good point, actually, Crystal. Even when the woman is literally Halloween, Michael Myers, brutalizing niggas, they putting up desirable pictures of the girl.
Yep.
They can show her being desirable. But when I was on the news in Iowa for doing good, they make me look Like Flavor, they just make me look like any big black man with a beard. They just find the worst picture, the worst angle. Eyes be like blinking. Eyes be halfway blinking in my nose. And eyes be spitting. And that's the picture they can use. But when a whole gal, this ain't no mugshot. This don't look like no mugshot to me. Sorry, I apologize, Crystal. You know my
Yo, and I know she got some pictures clothes. I'm sure, like her mom Facebook page, her dad Facebook page. I'm sure they have something. Why would an international news outlet use this in a broadcast? Look at the image.
Real.
But
and they gave more.
No.
They gave like examples. They're just like, okay, you don't like that angle, you got this angle. You know, Daisy Dukes. You got all that.
Right.
And then look at my boy. Oh, God. Jesus Christ, man. He's Nigerian.
So apparently this was like a pattern of abuse. I don't know on whose end, but since she's the one who stabbed him to death, I'm assuming she's the person that's responsible for most of the abuse, because they got a hold of some other instances, some body cam footage where the cops came and, you know, he's trying to get away from her, or even showing her hitting him while the cops are present. And it's like, damn. And I don't even know if the bitch got arrested on those instances where she doing all that in front of the cops. But now seeing that the defense team is saying, oh, this was self-defense, it's easy to angle it that way because he's this big black man and, you know, this poor skinny white girl. How could this skinny white girl be beating on her boyfriend? And I'm not saying it's not the same for women of other ethnic groups. You know, it's never going to be seen as severe as if opposed to when a man beats on a woman like that. And obviously, you know, y'all are physically dominant over us. So it's like, you know, bro, you could have pushed her. But at the same time, you know, women should keep their hands to themselves. I'm not one of those people who agree that, you know, because men are physically dominant over us, that the abuse isn't real.
Absolutely. And like there's arrangements, of course, like where like you do have like short kings out here, and like the short kings is be loving, you know, sometimes the very like domineering Amazonian things, you know, like the big gal them. And I love to see that arrangement. I see that a lot in the Caribbean actually. Like the smallest dude would find like the biggest gal. And like that's like one of the big things that we like over here. Like, listen, big white gals in the chat right now, if you all ever needed some validation, go to your nearest gas station in Nassau, Bahamas, and I kid you not, you will leave there feeling like the sexy, you will leave there feeling like Rihanna. I talking for real. To drive this point home, when it is a white woman delivering violence, even then, the idea of what a white woman is and how that operates in a white supremacist society is that she is not capable of being violent. And that's a point also to just misogyny in general. The investment in women not being seen as potentially violent is misogynist, is sexist. Women are capable of just as much brutalization as anyone. And it's not only something that will be harming and limiting women, but it's also something that makes it that prevents women from getting the entirety of the range of you know, being a woman. I have like two different reads of this, and this is the empathetic, nuanced read, right? They don't see it as domestic violence, and other people do. Victims have autonomy. So if they're saying something is not, and they are of age to give consent of what their experience is, then you cannot impose victimhood upon someone else. That takes away the autonomy of the victim. They got to be able to deal with it, and they got to be able to, they have to be able to deal with it in the way that they want to deal with it. That's one. But this is the next part, and this is the nuanced part. There is a world in which a man like this, who is vying for of course, some form of, I want to say, validation, especially given that he is dating a black former Disney star. I don't know if this face is very telling. In cases like this, a man, and I say this to myself as well, we can downplay the severity of violence done to us if it means that we are reclaiming some masculinity by doing so. Because if we are a victim, and that goes for domestic violence, that goes for assault of the sexual variety, that goes for verbal abuse, and keep in mind, like, domestic violence can range from emotional terrorism, it could range from physical, it could range from verbal, it could range for a lot of different things. Domestic abuse is one of the most complicated experiences that one can engage with, because how do you even deal with that? Like, even like if you are a friend of someone that is a victim of domestic abuse, you probably know that it is extremely difficult to even get them out of a situation like that, and you got to respect boundaries. Have you ever like dealt with a situation like that, Crystal?
Yes, I know women who are victims, but I feel like after the first or second time it was done, it was done with that situation. It wasn't a thing of me trying to get them to leave the situation. I know the men that are victims of the women in my family.
That's oh yeah, that's right. You did say like you have like a lot of women in your family too. Like it is honestly, and like of course, like we have to be able to engage with it without context a lot of the time. A lot of these things is like happen like on the fly, and engaging with it. There's a way to deal with things without demonizing folks and also giving empathy to folks involved without the full context. It's a struggle, but it is. But like I was saying, like anybody who's dealt with anybody in domestic abuse situations and relationships know that it's extremely harrowing, and a lot of times it is almost like a Stockholm syndrome, because like a lot of them don't leave. It's very difficult to get people to leave, and also it's not always your place to get them to leave. The reason why also like I really wanted to speak to it is because we have been seeing a wave of masculinization and dehumanizing efforts of especially Black women. Like when it comes to Black women historically, they've always been masculinized. They've always been viewed to be a lot more aggressive, emotional, not worthy of protection, brutal. So when you see a situation like this, it caught my eye because of course, just like the disparagement in size, but also I had like a feeling of trying to hold some type of empathy for dude as well, especially when I saw that dude said, hey, this ain't no domestic violence, y'all calm down, because we see that quite a bit, especially with men trying to reclaim the masculinity, because if a violence is done to them, they're going to diminish it, because that means that they get to reclaim and protect whatever manhood that is offended when one is made a victim, especially as a man. So like there's two schools of thought here. There could be that the media is relying on a long-standing established misogynoir of Black women, where they feel like if you see a Black woman being belligerent, and yes, for y'all that don't know, yes, she is pregnant, which adds like another part of complexity that I want to get in a minute. When you see a Black woman being belligerent in public, it's amazing to just see the difference of reaction of who is protected and who is seen as a perpetrator. And Skai Jackson, with a whole Disney, like a league of Disney accolades and all kind of different acting accolades behind the name, a whole celebrity in her own right, is still seen as a ghetto gal that brutalized her white passing, in this case, fiance.
White passing is funny. I do agree that men downplay domestic violence, because it's like, who, me getting pushed around by my girl? No, that's not true. And that's how I don't want to say domestic, I don't want to say mutual domestic violence, because I know a lot of people are arguing that that's not a thing, that whoever it starts with, that's who is the perpetuator of domestic violence. But that's why you see a lot of couples who be beating each other's ass, and it's just normal because now the guy is starting to fight back, and she doesn't see it as, and I'm not talking about Sky, I'm just talking in general, but the woman isn't going to see that as domestic violence. Now she's getting punched in her face. So for a decade, I had a neighbor back in high school, and her boyfriend Red, so her name was Tamika, and her boyfriend Red, it was bad. Like every day it was cussing outside, it was stuff being thrown out, clothes in the street. This was just, it was entertaining at the time. I'm young and I don't see the severity in domestic violence. And also, she wasn't the one getting her ass beat. So, I thought that was funny, the way she would beat up on him. And it got to a point where one time he broke up with her and he was throwing all his shit in the car to leave. He was like, I'm done with this, I'm leaving. And her last straw was when he took the flat screen off the wall. Now, she didn't care that he was leaving. You gonna leave the flat screen. And he was like, hell no. So he has my brother helping him shove the TV in the car, because car full of crap. So they're struggling trying to get the TV in. And she comes out with her family and they just start jumping him, like going in on him, like all females swinging on him at his head. And so finally, he knocks her out cold, like cracked her so bad I could hear it from inside the house. When I was looking out the window, I could hear the sound of it. I still think about it to this day. Hit her real hard, knocked her out. And then he started swinging on the other women. And, I was like, that's what y'all get. I'm sorry. Because if I'm going to go against somebody who can physically dominate me, that's bigger than me, I should expect to be hit back or something. For example, have you ever seen videos where somebody's like challenging somebody to fight them, right?
Yeah. Selling wolf tickets that they can't
get.
catch.
And then the person beat their ass or they get hit and then they're shocked. You can't be shocked. So I'm not saying she deserved to be knocked out cold, but the way they were beating him, I was like, he defended himself. I'm sorry. And when he was done, when the cops showed up and I saw how his mouth was bleeding and his face was black and blue because he was light skinned, the cops had him on the ground and just handcuffing him. And I was like, that is so fucked up. Like, y'all really brutalized this man, and he finally snapped and started swinging on y'all. And the cops are here and he's in jail.
So thank you for that, because there's a lot there to be engaged with. First, I appreciate you showing the growth in and the vulnerability in showing that this is something that a lot of people find funny. Like seeing a dude get beat up on by a woman, I could point to a million different movies where that is fine. Any Tyler Perry movie where you see talking about throw the hot grits on the nigga and thing, that is a thing, and we find that funny. That is a point of humor. Violence against men, because we're of course benefited by patriarchy. Often we do benefit from our stature and what that means and what that communicates. And we also benefit from the subservient socialization of women. So when you now have a counterculture where all this time, a lot of people have seen women to be servile or subservient or submissive. That's the word, submissive.
Oh.
When there's been this submissive socialization of women, and then now that culture has been bred, and now you have women engaging in that rhetoric, and they're just I can't hurt you, so I will do whatever type of, anything in that spectrum of violence to get you to understand or to exact you, because I know now, after decades and centuries of socialization, that I am not worthy of hurting you, so I will hurt you. Okay, Titus, I gotta deal with you. Titus, I gotta deal with you. Cause Titus, you make, I watch you go this whole time. And I assume that you've been in around here for a while. If you know the Lord of the land is love. And knowing that the Lord of the land is empathy. And I see you and you was talking about all kind of shit about women starting domestic violence, women being like the big, like, I'm not even gonna search it up because we know that ain't true. And I have a good feeling that I got off the barn door, guys, yourself. Titus, you can't be doing that. Okay, no, and this is the first time you was here, you definitely getting blocked. Hold on. I mean, you see, this is the thing. Y'all niggas is come, y'all let's drop all kind of skullduggery and all kind of chicanery.
You think this is bad? This chicanery?
Please be saved. Please go to church on Sunday because you all need Jesus Christ. Anyway, thank you so much, Crystal, for being vulnerable in the chat, especially hearts in the chat for Crystal. If y'all ain't following Black Femininity TV, y'all need to go watch it right now. Honestly, y'all need some more melanin in your life. And that's where I get my melanin from. All kind of Black people that I didn't even know existed. All exist on Black Femininity TV. Yes, Lord.
Yes, thank you, Peter. Also, thank you to the chat. Y'all have been really good.
Big up the chat. Big up yourselves, and I will see y'all next Friday. Y'all be safe. Y'all eat some fiber so y'all can protect yourself from hemorrhoids, and I will see y'all later. Yes, Lord.
It's a foreign man in a foreign land.